Heidi ho, good neighbors. This is Phil Russert. I am your host of Creatorcon Q&A. Happy Thursday. This is a special Thursday edition. 32.5 is the episode. We have William Samuel Quinton on tonight. He's a writer, an indie writer, and we're going to discuss his new book, 47 Furious Tales. And that's my phone. Sorry about that. Anyway, before we get started, of course, I've got my usual shout-outs and things to discuss. First, I'd like to ask you, please share this live. Let's get William some exposure, as we would want any indie creator to get exposure. Please share this out live. Anyway, so I'd like to do shout-outs to Andy Lee, who does all my promotional material. That's www.lesdudis.com, LESDUDIS. So thank you, Andy. He's everything pop culture and geek culture. Go check out his site. He's really good at what he does. We have It Came From the Radio, hosted by Mark Torres, which is an online radio show. It's everything pop culture and indie culture and mainstream and everything, you name it. Very informative. I will be a guest on their show, I believe, the 17th of this month, but I would have to double check that date. So if you're interested in listening to me ramble on even more than I do on this show, please go check out It Came From the Radio, as well as their other guests that they have on. For your comic book needs, we have Mad Titan Comics. That's at @MadTitan_comics on Instagram, and that's Eric Gunderson, who's the owner and operator on Facebook. And finally, we have Art by Kike, which is Enrique Lopez on Instagram. It's Art by Kike, and every Monday night he has his Inking with Kike show, which is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And he has a special guest while he inks during the show, and he interviews them. I have to tell you, this Monday he has Sid Van Blue, I think is how you pronounce her name. She is awesome. She is I've commissioned from her. She lives in Chile. She was a Cubert School graduate, and she's awesome. She will be a guest in a month or so, next month on my show, and she's a guest on Enrique's show Monday. So go please check that out. Anyway, also I want to remind you to please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the bell if you don't mind. If you don't want alerts because they annoy you, at least subscribe to the channel. We have some really great interviews on there to go check out. Lastly, we have the show December 6th. We've had some news yesterday from Governor Cuomo about restrictions, but we are still going on at limited capacity. So please check that out. Hey, Kevin, thanks for coming in. And December 6th, 10 to 6 p.m., the Suffolk Comic and Art Expo. We'll have Billy Tucci, Larry Stroman, Keith Williams, Rodney Ramos, Tony Cordos, Alex Rivera, and a bunch of great local and indie talent. So please come check that out, as well as comic book vendors to buy all your comic book needs. Getting all that out of the way, tonight we have an indie writer and creator. His name is William Samuel Quinton. He has written his book 47 Furious Tales, and it is a very good book. I read it today, and I really like it, and it's well drawn, and it's basically what we're going to discuss for the most part, for the most of the show, and I have to implore you, he has a Kickstarter going on now. There's 5 days left. So please go pledge. And if you're not ready to pledge right now, we're going to tell you why you should pledge. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome William Samuel Quinton.
Hey, Philip, how's it going, man?
What's going on? Thanks for coming on.
It's good to be here. I tell you, it's nice. So
yeah.
You like the book, yeah?
I did. I did. First of all, I love samurai. I love ancient, Japanese, feudal Japanese and all that, and all those things. I really enjoy that stuff, especially when it's done well, and it was. Before we get into that, I was telling you before, though, I think you have a name that should be knighted, Sir William Samuel Quinton. I think we have to refer to you as Sir William Samuel Quinton.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll tell you. If it makes it easier for people to remember who I am, then yeah, definitely. The indie guys, we gotta take all the help we can get,
Now I'm gonna let everybody know that this is the Kickstarter link. As a matter of fact, can you put it in the chat yourself, William? Or
yeah.
All right, grab that. Put it in the chat. This is the link to the Kickstarter, which has 5 days left.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into the Kickstarter in the book, hey, John is here. How are you, man? Kevin and John, thanks for showing up. Thanks for Chris Marrero said I refuse. Laugh out loud. Yeah, that must be a friend of yours.
Yeah, he's known me 35 years now.
Nice.
Oh, it won't let me post into the comments. I forgot to log in. That's why. I'm sorry. I
All
used the
right.
link and I forgot to log in. So
Can you ask Chris to do it?
Chris, can you put the link to the campaign in the chat for me, bro?
Thank you, Chris. So before we get into that, obviously you're a writer. When did you realize that you wanted to start writing?
I realized I wanted to start writing when I was in the 8th grade, 1984. And I did a bit of writing throughout high school. Had a book of poetry and short stories that was published in my junior year in '88, and then when I went to college, I started doing some writing for submissions for different places. I didn't really have a lot of success. Primarily, I was doing a lot of writing for RPG titles and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
Which, it was fun to try, but really didn't see any traction on that. So
thanks, Raj.
I had always, Raj, what's up, man? Raj
He put the
Mayhan.
Kickstarter in there for us.
Yeah, he's a lifesaver, man. I love Raj. He's great.
He's a great guy. He was on my show once before.
Yeah, I saw that one. He's Raj, to give you an idea, Raj is one of these guys who is just so incredibly talented, and the world just hasn't figured it out yet. If you read what he makes, if you talk to him, right off, this is a guy who's going to go far.
By the way, real quick to cut you off, Pete Vasquez just messaged me that he loves you and he thinks that book is fantastic, and how I had you on last week.
Yeah, Pete was good enough to sit and put up with me and let me talk with a bunch of the artists and stuff. That was amazing. So it was really cool.
There he is. He said, "Hey, Sam."
Hey, Pete, what's up, brother?
Pete, plug your show. Put the link in the chat.
That was a lot of fun because we had a lot of artists who were working on things, and that was a lot of conversation about things from the artist's perspective. And I think as a writer, you always really need to listen extra hard on that, because you need to understand how to communicate with other artists. I have a really good working relationship with Alexia Veldhausen, who does the illustrations and the inks and the colors for 47 Fury Tale. She's also the editor on that series. I got real lucky. She's a huge samurai fan, real big enthusiast, and she has agreed to work on the whole series, all 12 issues. So everyone can look forward to the same art consistently throughout, which is always,
I think that's important. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Alexia is a rock star.
She really is. She's amazing. I'll tell you too. It's a little behind the scenes stuff. She was inking today on a 2-page spread that's going into issue 2. If you've read issue 1, I love putting in those big 2-page spreads in comics. And she's working on one that's the inside of the courtyard in Eiko Castle with the son of Naganori and a bunch of the samurai. So for those of you who haven't seen it yet, I've got a print copy of issue 1 here to give you an idea of what we're talking about when we're looking at some of her work. It comes out really, really beautifully. But
great colors on there too.
Yeah, she really dove headlong into this project. She's done some amazing work, and that was that cemetery one, yeah. And I don't want to jinx myself. I'm not really superstitious or anything, but I think that she's probably even more immersed in this issue, if that's at all possible. She's done some amazing stuff. We've shown off a few of the pages in color. We haven't put anything out that's been lettered yet because we want to at least hold that back when it gets released. James Rodriguez, hey man, how you doing?
I was about to say, yeah, hey James, glad to see you here, buddy.
But give you an idea.
Back.
This is a 24 by 36 inch poster of the cover for the first press run for issue 1. We did 500 copies for that one, and then when we had to go and get a second batch printed, we had Alexia do a new cover for it, and she took and did just this magnificent piece of work.
Nice.
Showing this off.
Beautiful looking book.
Yeah, she's just simply remarkable. It's just magnificent to work with her. But yeah, trying to to build that kind of relationship with other artists, I think is really important, so that you can make sure that you're on the right track together. You both have that same vision in your mind, and then your artists can bring that vision to the visual media for everyone else to appreciate. And it's really,
when you write a book, do you write? Are you tight with what you're writing, like very explicit, or do you give a little leeway room for the artist's interpretation?
there are certain key details that I put in if they're necessary for like future elements in the plot. Like
Hey, Keith.
one big example on this, from the cover that she did for issue 2, there's this piece of cloth behind the samurai that we have to paint here, and there's blood stains along the charred ends. That's actually really significant from a few panels that are in this particular issue. And so little elements like that are what we kind of focus in, the ones that are important. And then the scene description itself is very, very general. If there's important little nuances, then we talk about it, see what we can incorporate into that, and then move forward with it. And then once she has that, she can just explore it to her heart's content. A really good example of this is what she did in issue 1, when she did the 2-page spread for the 47 samurais' tombs, their grave markers. If you actually zoom in and look at this, you'll see that she took and actually made an effort to try and copy the script on the headstones. Now, neither she nor I read Japanese, so she was literally copying that from photographs to the best of her ability.
Cool.
Absolutely incredible. Wasn't called for in the script, but she really went there. And actually, I'll tell you, Raj is I love how Raj has phrased this, because I know he really enjoyed this one, which is, Raj is one of these guys who's going to tell you what he thinks.
Right.
Going to be honest about it. And so if you do good and Raj says, hey, you did good, then you can take it to heart. If he says, you did good and you need to work on this, then you need to listen, because Raj has a good eye and he's going to tell you like it is. So it's really cool. Wade, thanks, man. Steve, appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, Steve and Wade, both artists. Steve worked on the Iron Giant, so this is a guy that's
cool.
Yeah, he doesn't give himself credit, but if he's telling you it's nice, it's nice.
Yeah,
Hi,
Lexi's
Heather.
done some wonderful, wonderful work. She really has.
By the way, Heather, in the chat. Feel free to put your link too as well.
Is that Heather Ellen in there? Is
yes.
that what we're seeing? Oh,
Heather
hey, Heather,
Ellen.
how's it going?
So, before we get all into the book, because I definitely want to delve into that deep, I want to delve into you a little bit. Okay. Sure. I want people to know a little about you and then know about the book. So you said you had started writing in 8th grade and everything. Have you taken any formal lessons for writing?
When I went to college the first time, I eventually transitioned to an English literature major, and I did that for about a year and a half. Took a couple of classes on creative writing. When I left college and stayed away, I actually started getting deeper into comics. And I'd always thought it'd be really cool to create comics, but since I can't draw at all, I had kind of given up on that. But then I discovered the whole concept of having teams, your writers, your artists, your colorists, and everything. And thanks, John. Appreciate that, man. Alexia did it all. She's absolutely phenomenal. And once that happened, once that realization hit me, I started to take and try and pay attention to the people who were producing stuff that I was really enjoying. So I was reading a whole lot of Neil Gaiman. I was reading, like always, anything Jimmy Palmiotti writes, everything that comes out from Billy Tushy. I mean, Billy Tushy and she is just, you new one, gotta have it. That's just the way it is. And then there were some other folks who were popping up on the indie scene you might have heard of, the guys who came out with, some titles like Usagi Yojimbo and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So you've got Stan Sakai and you've got Eastman and them. It's just one of those things that you kind of have to look and see, how are they telling these stories with just a little bit of text and then powerful imagery. And so when I came back to writing in 2017 and just started producing my own role-playing game materials, I was looking at, I wanted to get into comics too, because it was something I had wanted to do. And I kind of thought about that, about, the whole process of being able to tell so much story with so little word space. And the thing that occurred to me is it reminded me a lot of how Akira Kurosawa told such powerful stories in his movies. And a lot of his dialogue is actually really very brief in many of his samurai stories, particularly. And so you get scenes in some cases where no one says anything and there's just action that kind of,
and you have that in this book.
Right. And so we've actually got a couple of pages that don't have any text at all in issue 1. It's literally just you absorbing what's going on just through the visual medium. We don't have that as much in issue 2, because issue 2, there's a lot of little nuances that are coming up that require some explanation, or people wouldn't get it, because it's just, there's a plot from Kira, our main bad guy in this interpretation.
Keith, if you like the movies, check out the book. It's $10 is the small pledge for a physical copy, man. Yep. And he's got 5 days left, and he hasn't met the goal yet. Let's crunch down. Let's get this guy his goal. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Keith. And the thing too is that $10 includes shipping in the United States or the territories.
Oh, wow.
So whether you're in New York, Puerto Rico, Alaska, if you're an APO address because you're about to ship to Afghanistan or whatever, $10 and it's going to get to you. We actually should be done with everything but the final lettering in about 7 or 8 days. So we're moving along really, really well. And lettering is being done by Brian Lee, also a Kubert grad. He's doing some remarkable stuff for us. He didn't letter issue 1. We took this to heart after we completed issue 1, that having a separate letterist is so important.
Sure.
So, and Pete, Pete loves the paper, man. That it's real heavy, high grade stock. We got the best papers that we could get from Mix'em, and it really is something. Actually, next time you see Billy, check out his copy. It's in the same page weight that we're using.
Oh, Billy has a copy?
Yeah, he's got.
You should have told me. I was at his house today. I would have just looked at it.
I should. I didn't think about it. Yeah, next time you're there, ask him if you can check it out, because it is.
He would be on right now because he mentioned you today, but he's on his show with Niall right now. So
yeah, I'm still kind of giddy about the fact that Billy Tucci was talking about.
Yeah, I came over today and he goes, "Oh, you got William on your show. Good guy, good book." So Billy loves, Japan. He loves the whole Asian culture, which obviously, if you don't know that, you don't know Billy Tucci.
Right.
So yeah, you got to get Billy to get you a variant cover, man. I'll talk to him.
Yeah, I mean, because if once we get this funded, like I said, we got 5 days left. We're about 1,900 away. We got about 100 people who have saved the campaign that haven't pledged yet. So I'm pretty confident there's more and more people get in. There's
always a last minute push.
Yeah, and hopefully we can cover, because that's still a lot of distance to cover, $1,900.
Don't think about that. You just plug away and you do what you got to do.
Well, the thing is it's important. I mean, that amount, that $6,000 goal seems kind of high, but the thing is that I make sure I pay my artists well. So like we had this thing that came up. This guy was saying, "Hey, I love some of the stuff you've been doing. You've got some great artists that work with you on these projects." He's like, "I'm doing this comic I want to do. Do you know any of your artists who can do color pages for $50 a page?" I'm like, "No."
Wow, that's a low color.
Yeah, I mean, like, no. Wow. I'm like, I'm not even going to mention it to.
Yeah, no disrespect to that person, but you have to know what the industry standards are. I mean, even for an indie, unpublished artist to have full page color, I mean, no, they can't do $50 a page.
No, I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, you're talking about paying someone $1.50 an hour or something like that. At that point, it's terrible. So, I mean, yeah, the idea is you need to make sure that you're paying your people. Wade, what's up, man?
He's going to check out the Kickstarter now.
Outstanding, Wade. Thanks, man. I hope you appreciate it. We got some cool stuff on this too. Because also, if you didn't get book 1, we did have a second press run done with a new cover, so that it's easily distinguishable. It helped our first Kickstarter backers maintain the value of their books. Only 500 of those made. I had 3,000 of these printed. They're on the same heavy card stock, so we've got enough for this campaign certainly. And you can get a copy of issue 1 on the add-on for $5, and we're part of the add-on beta, so you just click it when you're in the Pledge Manager.
Now, it's funny. I had Eastman on at the beginning of the week, and I have you towards the end of the week, which I think is great. What made you come up with the anthropomorphic point? Way to go with the story.
So this is a little funny, right? So I had a whole list of stories I wanted to tell, and several different things I was going to take and pitch to the artists in the Sonopa Publishing work group that we maintain on Facebook, so that everyone has access to information pretty easily. And I had, sorry about that. And I had seen that little GIF of the squirrels that were fighting with lightsabers.
Oh yeah.
And then it was on Twitter actually that someone had popped that up, and then one of the guys who follows me on Twitter followed it up with a couple of squirrels decked out in samurai attire. And I was like, I could take and tell the 47 Ronin story, which is what I was looking at. And I could do it in anthropomorphic animals and use squirrels as the samurai. So it'd be kind of like almost a Ninja Turtles vibe, but in more traditional, almost like it's art from the Edo period. And I talked, when I pitched it out, Alexia claimed 47 Furious Tales as the project she wanted to tackle. And she's like, but we can't just have them all squirrels because they're not going to be easily differentiated. I'm like, yeah, because it's the same thing with superhero comics. That's why everyone has different costumes. And so we took and we changed several of the characters from the scripts who were going to be squirrels originally, like Yahei and Yasube particularly. They became anthropomorphic foxes. We trained Kinemon. Kinemon stayed a squirrel, and then we changed our youngest of the 47 into a little hamster, anthropomorphic hamster. He's cute as a button. It's really just too cute for words. And then we took and turned our bad guy Kira from a squirrel to a rat to make him really, really unique in the story. And by doing that, it gave us a more diverse palette in the book, made everything much more easily differentiated, and made for a better book. So I can credit that to that different animal types to Alexia on that. That was really her. It did make more work for her because she had to come up with more diverse character illustrations. But it's been really good for us. It really has. And I'm really looking forward to people being introduced to some of the other characters who come out later in the series. Because, it is just a limited 12-issue series because, it's based on the historic events. But there's, the anthropomorphic rabbits and the squirrels. And, of course, we've got monkey bandits that are really very prevalent in the issue 2.
They're in issue 1 though, and
they're in issue 1.
There is violence in the book. It's not over the top,
right? Yeah.
But it makes sense to the book. Obviously, I mean, you have, feudal Japan. You have samurais, and there are blades, and there are going to be limbs chopped off, and heads, and things like that. It's done very well, and you utilize a few styles in the book that I like personally when they're done well, and they were definitely done well. You start off with a narration technique, which I do love that. And I joked around with you and I said, you could even put the Morgan Freeman voice on it. So the narration was used well. It's not overused. It fits. It makes sense. And then you had mentioned before, you do silent panels.
Yes.
And they did that in the Japanese Ronin movies. The fight scenes, the movements, the choreography of the movements that the artist captures very well, all through silence, said a lot. And I thought that those two techniques that are not used often, you used extremely well. and worked very well in the book. So having said that, going back to what you were talking about before, you're looking forward to and the other characters. How do you keep yourself in control and pacing? Because with being an indie guy, nobody knows the book per se. There's no history of it.
Mhm.
You have to get them engaged right away,
Right.
but you can't rush through it, or the characterization just doesn't come through. So you
Mhm.
have to do a nice balance, and then you have to maintain that throughout the 12 issues.
Mhm.
Yeah, how do you do that? I mean, what are you very aware of that when you write?
We cheated. We cheated. We resorted to using kind of a mixture of script writing for the comic and novel writing. And so what I did was produced an outline for the entire 12 issues. That was the very first step. Broke those 12 issues up into basic episodic elements.
So you already did more than Disney did for the Star Wars trilogy. Okay, go ahead.
So I don't want to make an enemy of the mouse. I don't need the Disney hit team in my living room, because some of those guys are scary. I used to work with a guy who actually ended up becoming the second in charge of security down in Orlando. And he wasn't worth a damn, but he finally became more proficient when he went to work for the mouse. So I don't know if they put a chip in his head or what they did. But
by the way, Keith says there's the Blind Swordsman. Check it out. You could make a Blind Squirrel adventure.
Yeah.
That reminds me of Blind Fury with Rucker Hauer. I used to love that movie.
I actually really did like that movie. That was a fun flick.
Sho Kazuki was in it. You can't go wrong. Anyway, so you were saying, I'm sorry.
So we did that. I did an entire outline for the series as a whole, broken up into 12 elements, and then basically outlined each of those 12 books. And so basically with that, I'm not going to put a mouse bad guy in there. I am not going to have the Big D's hit team show up here for me. I might not be scared of much, but Disney terrifies me. Anyway, we broke that up so that we can make sure we knew where we were going, which doesn't mean it was perfect. I mean, there's some revisions for the script for issue 3 to make sure that we have. I'm not starting issue 3 and 4 in the transition between the two, because issue 3 is incredibly violent. Incredibly violent. So issue 3 is going to be another big book. Because issue 1 was 28 interior pages, 32 you count the covers and everything. Issue 2 is 24 if you count the covers. Issue 3 right now is sitting at 28 pages. It's just like issue 1.
Nice.
If I can get it down to 24 and make it make sense to carry the action into 4, I will, but I kind of like the way it breaks. The only problem is with 28 pages, those extra pages, that's a lot of work.
Right.
So
and money.
Well, yeah. And like I said, I pay my people the best I can, whether it's Alexia doing work on comics or whether they're doing pieces for RPG work, So it's
I hate to say this, but you get what you pay for. No disrespect to anyone, but artists who know their work and know what they're doing.
Yep.
You're gonna have to pay them some money, and that just the reflection. Look, this is an aesthetic industry. As much as you can write an amazing story, like you said, the artwork on the cover's got to catch you first.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to have that catch. I agree. But without any spoilers and stuff like that, tell me, why should everybody be on this Kickstarter right now? Why is this book awesome? Tell us about it.
The book itself is awesome because it takes us to.
Oh, look who joined us!
It's Alexia Valdhausen.
It jumped as I put it up there.
Issue 2 is important because it takes and introduces us to the first implementations of Kira's plot against Asano Naganori, the daimyo of Eiko, which eventually culminates and comes to a head when you have Asano's action that basically damns his future, and basically leads to the final culmination of the 47 Ronin story that everyone knows, the part where they avenge his death. And so 47 Furious Tales isn't just about that final portion of it, or else it'd just be 6 issues. We have this first section of it where we're basically introducing people to not just the lives of these people who, these are straight out of history, but also giving you a feel for the underlying relationships between them, so that instead of looking at these characters like they're, simply the historic ideal samurai, they're still people who made this incredible decision to avenge their lord, Asano Naganori, after he was, basically wronged in a very devious manner. So it's someone's asking me about my headphones. So
yeah, Christina was asking you the gaming headphones.
I got these off of Amazon last week, so I just now got them, breaking them in. Actually, I had to tune in the mic a little bit today because it wasn't really picking up really well at first. But yeah, issue 2 is incredibly important. You're going to see in this issue, without too much spoilers, you're going to see a little bit more of what we mean when we say words like bandit raid, and why there was a need to have samurai in the first place. And I think a lot of that comes through in this book and in issue 3 particularly.
So you also said that you have a link. I think I have the link actually.
Oh yeah.
To put in the chat. Let me get it from the private chat.
So yeah,
to the first issue.
Yep. And so basically everyone who's watching this, whether you're watching it now, whether you're watching it recording, we have a link for you from Drive-Thru Comics.
I just put it up.
And you can use that link at Drive-Thru Comics to download digital copy of 47 Furious Tales issue 1 for free.
I recommend you download it tonight, read it before you go to bed. You'll see why you need to back the Kickstarter. You really need to back the Kickstarter. Let's help them out. Now, getting into that also, I'm curious, what made you go with Kickstarter? Because Indiegogo, you could go as long as you want and just keep going with the campaign. So what made you decide to go Kickstarter?
I started with Kickstarter with RPGs. And so that's where people basically are familiar with me. That's where I have my actual crowdfunding following, if you would. The people who know that when I do this, that I'm going to fulfill that. So I've had 13 successful Kickstarter campaigns so far. This is going to be number 14 when we fund. Everyone pledge and help us to get that done. I'm working on fulfillment to finish up on the 13th when Death Comes to Glenfollow. I'm really hoping I can get all the digital fulfilled this weekend. I'm finishing up some formatting. We had some problems with that. A couple of weeks ago, I got sick. I didn't get COVID, but I got really sick. I ended up having
right before your birthday.
Yeah, I ended up spending like 3 weeks in pretty bad shape. I had to have a lot of dental work done. I had a lot. For those of you who can see me now, you might notice that my cheeks are not as puffy as in the picture that we have. And what it was is I thought I was just gaining weight, but what it was is I actually had a lot going on in my mouth up underneath the gums, and I had to have a lot of dental work.
Oh wow!
So yeah, like it was I think 17 hours worth of dental work.
Oh my Lord!
Yeah, so it was a lot.
Wow, knocked me out. By the way, Wade, if you look right above you, it's posted twice. The link to the free download is right above what you posted. And Alexia, absolutely, you're welcome. Alexia, please in the chat, feel free to put any links to your page, your work, etc., to promote yourself. We were discussing how beautiful the book looks and what a wonderful job you've been doing. So kudos to you. Just wanted you to know that if you didn't hear that.
And I want to share something too with you guys too, is that we actually whenever we deal with any of these issues, we have a contract, right? We work on contracts so that the artist's interests are protected, my interests are protected. All of us know exactly what to expect. And part of the contract that we did for this one, Alexia was willing to part with several of the original pages. And so we've made those available in the Kickstarter campaign. Our Daimyo
Nice.
tiers already been claimed, but I want to share something with you because this is just wonderful. This is the original. I haven't framed it yet. I was going to frame it
Wow.
last night. This is the original inked page for 47 Furious Tale issue 2's main cover, which was by Alexia. That's going to get framed up and it'll be hanging over my desk soon.
Very nice.
Yeah, and so we've got a total of 5 interior pages that are being made available for not counting the Daimyo one. And so I think we have either 2 or 3 left, and those are our higher tiers. And then, of course, we also have some really high quality prints, 11 by 17. And, you and I had talked about how we had the high grade papers for the book itself.
Mm-hmm.
This is the 11 by 17 print.
Oh, wow. Look at that. That's thick.
So,
You can see how thick it is from here.
Yeah. That's 130 pound paper.
Wow.
And we had those shipped to Alexia so she could sign them.
Very nice.
And shipped on over. And so we've got those for the issue 1 first cover. And then the second printing cover, those will be in probably next week, I think. And then we're also having the Veldhausen cover for issue 2, and then the variant cover that was done by Fernando Ruiz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we had Fernando did one for us with colors by Nick Capone. And we have a third variant cover that was done by Paul Walcott, who does a lot of work for Viz.
Nice.
He's also a Kubrick grad. Absolutely amazing man to work with. Love his work. He's just phenomenal.
Very cool. See, that's the thing. Remember, guys, when you do Kickstarters, it's not just the quality book you get, but you get tons of different, tiers and the pledges, and you get other goodies, extra goodies. And just to think, if you can get an original page, I mean, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
As an original art collector, as you can see behind me, I love stuff like that.
And those are shipped in top loaders for this, so they're going to be good and protected. And we're packaging those up, and then packing that all in a. We'll wrap them up and everything, make sure they're safe, and we're going to ship them in the big USPS board game boxes, which is how Billy and Niall got their 11 by 17s as well.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So tell me what made you go with the Japanese culture and, obviously the story of 47 Ronin. What made you decide to go with that? Have you always been into the Japanese culture? Because the way you wrote it, you would think you were really into the Japanese culture.
Yeah, I started studying martial arts when I was 14, and I was a competitive martial artist by the time I was 15. Raj, nice. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. And so I was actually competing in my teen years as an adult. So I was 14 years old and fighting 28, 30-year-old men.
Oh,
wow. Because I was, at that time, basically the adult divisions in the organizations I was fighting, basically if you were 14 or higher, you were an adult. And then that was in the North American Sport Karate Federation, the United States of America Karate Federation, and a couple others, and the AAU, USAKF, and all them. And so studying the martial arts, one of the things that my sensei encouraged me was to study other martial arts as well, and to also to read the classics. And so my father bought me a copy of Sun Tzu's The Art of War, and I read that as quickly as I could. I read the Book of Five Rings before I was 16. I read stories about several different samurai, myths and legends, as well as historical accounts. And that's where I became aware of the 47 Ronin story as a historic element. Before that, it had been through seeing like Akira Kurosawa movies, and I didn't realize it was actually a historic interpretation. And so the idea of writing something to try and bring what is really a very complex historic event into something that you can condense into 12 issues of comic is something that I take very seriously. And Alexia does as well, which is one reason I think we work so well on this. We we try and approach things so that as we're putting this out, it's handled with respect. The attention to detail in the art is evident in every page. I think Alexia is doing a wonderful job on that. And we go over the script as a whole together. It's part of the editorial process to make sure there's no real holes or problems in the way it's presented. And sometimes that produces some unexpected and very advantageous results. So, I mean, that's actually caused us to reorder our pages in a couple of instances, so that instead of breaking up the action between multiple scenes like they're happening all at the same time, you see what's happening here and then what's happening here as they are all unfolding together. And I think that makes for a little bit of an easier reading experience. And I think it also helped out a lot for us to keep track of the narrative as the creators, so that you don't get lost in the weeds, as it were.
Well, between your writing style and obviously her art, I think you capture the essence of that time period well. And again, that was just in the first issue, so you haven't even had time to really flesh everything out yet. So I'm excited to see where this goes. Now, go ahead.
I'll tell you, we have, if you go to the actual Kickstarter campaign, we shared out a couple of the color.
He plans on 12 issues, James. Sorry.
No, it's cool. A couple of the colored pages. And so if you look, you'll see just how remarkable some of these techniques are with regard to what's being shown. And like the second page that we're showing off, it's such a little detail, but I think it captures so much, is just Kira sitting there eating, and it's just a little bit of attention. And in the background, you see there's this brazier that's burning, and you can see it in the background. You can see that there's something in there. And then the last panel, it reveals it's this, this communication, this parchment with what's this, rice paper rather, with the seal of the gray wolf on it. And it's kind of, a way of telling Kira's hiding the evidence. He's concealing it. He's basically covering his ass so that it's not revealed all the wrongdoing that he's putting out there.
Very nice. So he said he's doing 12 issues, James, just to let you know. Now, once you get through all the 12 issues, are you looking to pursue putting a collected volume together, or are you going to do a whole new story with different, a whole different, creation of yours? Or
well, actually, there are 5 other comic stories, other comic projects that I'm working on for my company, Sonoma Publishing. And I am waiting on a signed contract for a writing gig that I got asked about to write a limited series Western comic.
Nice.
Which I will sign that once they send me their signed copy of it and I get to review it again. I was expecting it last week and it's not here, so I'm kind of wondering what's up. But and I won't be able to say much about that until actually everything's signed and any NDAs are looked at. But 5 other Sonoma comic projects, definitely, including Super Willow, which is a story about my little daughter as a superhero, and it's written for small children. So like the first issue would be like for kids kindergarten and first grade, and then as we go up, the plan is to age her in the book as she ages in real life, so that you have Super Willow that follows all the way through her entire story. Nice. And then we're doing the trade for 47 Furies Tales when it's all done, but we're gonna do it in the hardbound.
Nice.
And so once that's all done, my buddy Zach Parker is going to carve a wooden case for it, and we're going to send a copy to we're going to send a copy in the case to the shrine in Japan for the 47. If I can afford to, I may fly out there and take Alexia with me so that we can go pay our respects while we're there.
Oh, wow.
So
that's amazing.
Mhm.
So, what other projects do you have in your mind, ready to go once this is over?
We have a lot of work going on right now on a near future dystopian fantasy. So if you think things like the movie Bright with Will Smith, Shadowrun, the RPG, elements of cyberpunk, and maybe a little bit of influence from the Dresden Files, I guess, all mixed in together. It's going to be based largely on the Shadowrun fan fiction that I've been writing for a couple of years. The thing is that the publisher for Shadowrun has still not come back to me with their opinion on licensing that property, and it's been almost a year. So I'm just going to remove the proprietary information, and we'll get that into production pretty soon.
Nice. That caught my attention. Go on. And Chris is like, "Listen, buddy, take me road trip. I want to go too."
Yeah, man. I mean, if we can get enough money up together to go, yeah, we'll maybe drag Carlos and Shane with us too.
What advice would you give up and coming writers that want to start their own book? I mean, guys that haven't done anything yet.
First off, before you go to find your artist, have your whole script done. Know what it is that you're pitching to people. Don't give away the whole IP when you're pitching out to find someone to do it, and make sure that you're approaching your artists and your colorists, your letters, everyone on the team from the perspective of you want to make sure that they're getting paid fairly. Mm-hmm. Because producing the art for a comic is incredibly time consuming. I mean, think about your artists as if they were plumbers, okay? Is a good analogy. Think about it an hourly rate. Think about your plumber an hourly rate, and that's what you're basically looking at. You want them to be paid for the highly skilled professionals that they are, okay? Second thing, get your contracts set up. Even if it's just a template, get it set up so that you can produce it when people ask for it. Use contracts for everything to spell out everyone's rights, mm-hmm. And then make sure that you're fair about it. Because as the writer, your time on task is not as intensive as the combined work of all your artists and letterers. Between the penciling, the inking, coloring, and lettering, there's more time on creating your comic in those factors. As far as actual work time, now it might take you days to finish formulating your idea, but the time you're actually spending writing stuff out is not as intense as all the work that they're going to be doing in creating these pages to bring your vision to life. So come at it with a realistic anticipation of paying your people fairly. And then the final thing too is I think crowdfunding is really, really the way to go for any of us who are new creators, whether it's RPG work, whether it's creating board games, comics, what have you, because among other things, you can kind of see what the level of interest is in your titles and see how people are reacting to them and what they're liking. And you can get some really, really great feedback too from your audience about what it is they're liking about the titles, what they'd like to see, if there were points in it that might not have been as good as they could have been. And you can take those legitimate, honest criticisms, improve yourself as a writer and a creator, bring it back to your team, present it just the same way as open, honest, constructive criticism, and create something really, really beautiful. Someone who's really, really good at this is Adam Watson with Darkslinger Comics out in Oregon. Absolutely brilliant about creating his material. Brian Hawkins, who's doing a lot of work for Mad Cave right now. Brian is really good about this. He created a title called Cornrows, and Cornrows is one of the best indie titles I've ever read. One of the best comic titles I've ever read, really, to tell you the truth. Just from a writing perspective, it's absolutely fantastic. Madeline Holly Ryson, who her style of creating comics, her writing is very elegant. And so when you get one of these Boston Metaphysical Society comics and you're reading through this, you really have this experience that she's just kind of taking you through the story in a really easy to understand and really very exciting way. And then of course Mike Shea with the Miskatonic High and Miskatonic University titles, very much the same. These are really strong creators who have consistently worked to improve issue after issue after issue, learning from what they're getting feedback from their audiences.
So just, Wade King is an excellent artist as well, and I think he's interested in possibly talking to you about the future dystopian book.
Okay.
Where do you find your artists to work with? So I mean, I'm not speaking for Wade, but I will say this though, Wade would make a beautiful looking book as well. So
most of the artists I work with come out of the Kubert School, with a few notable exceptions. Probably the biggest notable exception is that anyone's heard of would be Sandra Cole. Sandra, who produced this particular piece of art just to the left of the 47 Furious Tales poster. I've got another piece of hers hanging up here, another poster print that I got from her. Sandra's done some amazing work, but most of the folks come out of the Kubert School, and that's just because that's where my connections started. And I was really incredibly fortunate to have that happen. I've been working with some amazing professionals. I mean, I got a cover from Fernando Ruiz. I'm still a little fanboying over that one. And yeah, Sandra, I think I've got, to give you an idea, I know I've got something of Sandra's over here. I have to.
So when does this Kickstarter end officially?
Set the 17th.
Very nice.
That's the first piece for publication Sandra Cole ever did. And it was for one of my projects. I'm thrilled to be able to say that. But yeah, we're ending on the 17th.
Which is Tuesday for everybody.
Yeah. So please don't wait. Please come out and go ahead and pledge. Raj, thank you so much, man. I just saw what you did there. You, sir, are awesome. Thank you.
This is what I'll tell everybody. It's real simple. You have late pledges and things like that, and you can, you're able to add to your pledge after. Just pledge. If you're not sure what you want, just pledge so you're in and you don't lose it, and then you can upgrade and add as you see fit afterwards. You all know how Kickstarter works. But if you don't pledge, you lose out. So pledge. You got to help him meet his goal, or there is no late pledge. There is no anything. You've got to make the goal. He's got to make the goal, and he has till Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Again, I read the book. You can read. Everybody there can read the first issue yourself. We put it in the chat. Mm-hmm. We're gonna put it up again.
And we're actually about to put that out to the group in the Comic Book Madness group. They recently passed 1,800 members in that group, so we're gonna make that available for them probably tonight or tomorrow morning. And so they'll be able to pick that up too.
I'm putting the chat in the chat again. I just put it up for the free.
Wade, if you're interested in making some comics, shoot me a link to where I can see your work online, and then also a rate chart. Okay, always important so we know what that we're on the same page. Send that to management@sinopapublishing.com. Sinopa is SINOPA, publishing traditional spelling.com.
And again, there's the free issue link. Listen, don't waste any time. Go read it. Because worst case scenario, if you decide you don't want to pledge, at least know what you're passing on. Go read it. And if you can't pledge, share it out. The more people that know about the book, you may have friends that are very interested in this. If you can't pledge money, pledge just 3 minutes to share it out to everybody you know.
And we were on the beta test for the add-on system for Kickstarter, so we weren't able to incorporate an all digital tier, but in the FAQ we addressed this. If you just want to get digital, just pledge in the no reward selected, whatever amount you want, even if it's only $1. We're going to take and make sure that everyone in there gets their digital download of issue 2 once we have that out, because we're going to fund. We just need you to pledge to get us there.
And listen, again, you've seen the work of Alexia. You can get original pages. There are tiers with original pages. I mean, original art plus the book, it'll be worth the money. And again, they're beautiful. Look at them. So I highly recommend it. To please go in, check out the tiers, pledge just something, and share it out to everybody.
Mm.
That's what I would say. Before we get going, give us one more big, strong, solid pitch. Tell us everything we need to know to get this done.
Okay. So we need you to come out, pledge, get your copies, enjoy them, and then get ready for issue 3 when we do that in 2021. If you have ever enjoyed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if you've ever enjoyed Usagi Yojimbo, if you have ever enjoyed a Kurosawa samurai film, this is a series that you are going to enjoy. And I tell people all the time, I hope that when you have 47 Furious Tales, that it finds a cherished place in your collection for years to come. One thing that a lot of people are really surprised by, it's in this 6x9 format, so it's almost the same size you see in traditional Japanese manga right now. And it's on the best quality paper that we can produce. But when you first open these books, you are treated to just diving into the world of the samurai era. And so I got to thank Alexia for that. She's just done a tremendous job with putting this together. And like I said, it is violent. I would not recommend this for children who are not yet teenagers, because our violence is swift and deadly. There are decapitations even in issue 1. So do be mindful about that. You don't want to give them to your 3rd grader. But with the attention on these titles, it is to the quality both in the story, in the art, and the materials we use to print it on. And that goes not just for the comic, but even for the small art prints, the 5.5 by 8.5s, which are, I have one of these ready. That size right there.
Nice.
And of course, that's that same heavy cardstock that we use. And then, of course, the 11 by 17s. And we take a lot of great pains to make sure that you get your rewards. So, yeah, on behalf of me, Alexia, the entire team, your contributions help make it possible, not just for this issue, but for the issues to come. It shows the world that more and more people are interested in it, and we'll have even more people coming to 47 Furious Tales as we go through these next 10 issues after this. It all starts really issue 2, because issue 1 on any crowdfunding campaign, there's a lot of excitement. A lot of people are like, well, I pick up the first one and there we go. But when you get to issues 2 and 3, that's when you start to see, are we having this type of effect on people? Are we making a difference? And I think we are.
Yeah, like I said, I read it. I enjoyed it. I did feel like I was brought into that world, samurai era. The artwork is stunning, but as much as we keep talking about the artwork, and Alexia deserves a lot of accolades, the writing is well done. It's not overly written. It's not underly written. A very good use of narration, a good use of knowing when it's just supposed to be the art telling the story. And that's a rare thing these days. Either heavy one, heavy the other, or not enough. This is a nice balance of writing telling the story and art telling the story, and them complementing each other. And I recommend it. 5 days, people, not even now. Tuesday is it. So please go check out right there. Drive Through RPG has the free download. Just so everybody knows, because we didn't mention this, when you get it, it looks like you have to buy the book. You do not. You're going through as if you're buying the book, but it will say $0. You're not going to ask for any credit card information. No money is being exchanged. Just it goes to your cart. It'll ask you to create the account real quick. It goes to your cart. You click, my cart, and to order the book, and then it offers you the download option in the top right corner, and it does not cost you anything. You're not asked to put any information in other just create a password.
And the other thing too is it'll actually hold that title in your library there as well. So if you ever, if your hard drive ever goes bad, if the file ever becomes corrupted, you can always download it again directly from your library there on DriveThru Comics, DriveThruRPG.com.
Nice, and literally it takes 20 seconds to do all that. So I know we're in an age where everybody's impatient and it's instant gratification, blah, 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 blah. It takes several seconds to do that, to read a quality book. It's 28 interior pages, beautiful artwork. And I'm telling you, you'll read it and you're going to say, okay, I need to pledge for Kickstarter for the issue 2. So please do so.
Yep. So real quick too, we have a few other titles that we are in developing. There is a near future title that I'm working on where we are going to be addressing the commercial efforts of exploiting space. And so this is going to handle things like building colonies on the moon, the trip to Mars and the colonization of Mars, creating new space stations and various industries moving into space. And so that particular project's currently in the writing development phase right now. We're looking to see who's going to be the lead artist on it, because it's going to be very demanding with the technical writings, or technical details of the illustrations, I should say.
So Wade King, show him your the machine, the war machine you did and all that stuff. He did some intricate details. So send your portfolio to him, buddy. Do it.
Yeah, send me a link. Send me a link so I can access it online.
Well, Sir William Sam Quinton, thanks for coming out today. I really wish you success. I hope this gets funded right away so you don't have to stress to the last minute.
Oh, me too. I tell you, I just had my 50th birthday, so the stress is not so good for me.
You look 50, dude.
Yeah, just turned 50.
Well, congratulations. I made it to 48 weeks ago, so we're making it. Yeah, please listen. We all want to support people. We want our support for our dreams. We have to support them for the dreams. Let's be a community. Let's do this together. William has worked very hard on this. So has Alexia and many other people. Mm-hmm. So please, let's reward them by showing them that this passion project is worth it, and we want it, and we want to read it, and we want to share it with everybody. So go support the Kickstarter. If we didn't make that clear, go support the Kickstarter. You got till Tuesday. Don't wait till then.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it, man. Thanks, J-Rod.
So anyway, thanks for coming out. I appreciate you reaching out to me about this. And
thanks for taking the time to fit me in. I know this was tough on your schedule. I really appreciate it.
And no problem. I want to see it succeed. And with 5 days left, I didn't do much, but I'm happy to add you on. And I'll tell Billy tomorrow, dude, you got to do a variant cover for this guy. He may not listen to me, but
I'll tell you what. Once we get funded out, I'll definitely ask him about it, because we could take that to Indiegogo. But we gotta get funded here first.
Right.
Definitely gotta get funded here first, because this is where everyone knows us.
Absolutely. Do it, guys. Well, William, thanks for coming out, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
much
Philip.
Success. Keep going.
Will do. You have a great evening. Thanks so much for having me.
No problem. Have a great night.
You too.
So that was episode 32.5 in the books, where, listen, it's great when we have the big name guests like Eastman come on and everything, but Eastman was where William is at one point, just trying to break through into the industry, really get a name for himself, get that story out there. For all we know, William is the next Eastman, right? So let's support him. Let's be at the beginning with him. Let's start with him. Let's jump on board with him. And you can say, I was there when William started, when he, before he was huge. I supported his book. So seriously, go check out the free issue, and that'll sell you, and then you can go from there. All right. Samuel Quinton, his book is 47 Furious Tales, Kickstarter going on right now. We have the link in the chat to the Kickstarter, and we have the link for the free issue in there. And I'm just going to put it up one last time. That's the Kickstarter link there. Having said that, Adelso Corona was supposed to be on tomorrow night, but as you all know from the big announcement, which I've quietly known, he's working on that X book with Brett Booth, and I'm excited about that. So he had to postpone, and he's rescheduled for December 27th with me. It's a Sunday because he's got X book deadlines and stuff. Delso is a good guy. He's a friend, and I'm happy for his success. So that won't be going on tomorrow night, but I may be coming on tomorrow to chat with someone about Star Wars and stuff just for fun. So maybe you come check that out on a Friday night after you watch The Mandalorian. I do also have Rusty Gilligan coming on Tuesday. Rusty was a child actor, and he's done art for movies. So come check him out on Tuesday at 9 p.m., according to my schedule. I know it's either 9 or 10. And that's what we have going on. Again, thank you to William for coming out. Please support his book. We need to support indie creators, period. This is where it starts. If you're tired of the same old crap coming out of big publishers, don't just complain about it. Support the new indie guys, their fresh ideas, their new takes on things. That's how you send messages to when you're sick and tired of what's being put out there. The consumer's in control. How you take control is support indie creators and the quality that they're putting out there, and let everybody know that his book is out there. All right. So anyway, thank you so much to everyone coming out, for everyone that always comes out, for all the support, for all the love, all the good people out there. Thank you to the community that helps support these indie creators. And as always, I leave you with this. Be legendary and have fun storming the castle.